It appears the average voter has had more than enough of politics in all forms. They have turned off and tuned out. In this country, we have compulsory elections for state and federal governments, but in local government, elections are not compulsory. And here we can see exactly just how switched off people have become. The average voter turnout at local government elections is around 30% of eligible voters, and the trend is downwards. So, if someone is elected to council on such low voter participation, they can hardly claim a mandate, can they? Therefore, legitimacy and credibility are gone before they even start. So why is this the case? Many feel it's a waste of time and that council will do whatever they want anyway, so why bother? The fact that residents feel this way is a direct reflection on the way councils operate. They do not engage with their constituents. They do not allow constituents to talk to them as a body. And the way the elected representatives have abrogated their statutory duty and thus allow the executive to drive the narrative also doesn't help. And some councillors have been there way too long and become part of the problem rather than part of the solution. Another point of view may be that governments at all levels have broken the contract. Since council elections are voluntary, people express their displeasure with the entire system by simply not engaging. So what do I mean by they, meaning the government, have broken the contract with the people? Many people have seen their prospects go down the toilet. They've lost their job stability. They may need to move house because their rates and taxes are too high. Education, health, benefits are all harder to come by now than it once was. And we're in this mess because they, meaning the government, have broken the contract between a citizen and his government. The government's basic job is to extort money from the people in the form of taxes for the public benefit. Most of us are fine with that, so long as the government redistributes that money wisely and fairly. So if we look at this at a local level, we can see that the council has continued to extort money from the ratepayers, but many feel that the way this is being used is far from fair or wise. When you make a conscious choice not to invest in the local area and at the same time massively increase rates and charges, you break the contract. When you outsource the security of residents to private companies whose main motivation is profit, you break the contract. When the private sector decides who gets nice play equipment and shade for the kids to play under, you break the contract. When you have large grassed playing fields but no shaded seating supply and or inadequate car parking, because you didn't think it was important, council is essentially saying it can't do its job. It has have private companies do the planning for it. It's given up on delivering. Now this would never happen in a council with the well-being of its citizens at its heart. These are all massive public policy failures which have led to the breakdown of trust between the electorate and local government. Indeed, between the electorate and all government. Now we add into this emotional aspect the reducing costs equals reducing services argument, as if increasing cost is a prerequisite for good policy and good representation. When you add that in, objective thinking goes out the window. And that's how populism works. It masks political failure by blaming others. This happens at federal and state, at all governments, not just local. Therefore, we have council CEOs who continually create budgets that the ratepayers can't afford to pay, so they manipulate the elected councillors to agree to the rate increase. Then they put out financial statements that mask the failings by being sketchy on where the money goes. We have a first-past-the-post democratic system that simply doesn't work. That disenfranchises massive swathes of the electorate. No wonder we have such small percentage of responses. The current system is not perfect, but it is what we have to work with. So if we cannot change the system, change the people operating within the system. Mind you, there is a push for genuine reform happening now. Let's hope those in state parliament are reading the mood of the citizens and will take real action. People need to be heard. They need to be treated with respect and with fairness. They need to send a message to all the current long-serving, dare I say self-serving, councillors that they have had enough of being taken for granted. Another thing you can do is make sure your local MP knows that you want the issue of local government to be an election issue. Let them know that if they don't make a stand in the House, you will take action at the ballot box. No politician wants to be out of a job. Let them know that real action is required, not just some whitewash that ensures the vested interests of Walga and the like are still protected. The system may appear rigged in favour of the status quo. Most people can see through the tactics that have been designed to reduce your interest and push you to the nothing will change anyway position. Don't let yourself be swayed from the goal of taking action. Don't let the white noise emotionally disconnect you from the main issues. Those issues are you are being taken for granted, taxed mercilessly, and not heard at all. However, these grubby little tactics can only work if we have low voter engagement. The more people vote, the greater your chance will be heard. Take action and join the movement to get real change. Join the community of people who want to get the government back to the people where it should be. Join with us in pushing back against the self-interest and the power-hungry.